Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Today I am going to take you through a series of steps on how to install a VM version of FortiGate firewall. So we have to look at the resources where we can get this software. First, we need to go to the website, copy that. This is going to be in the description of the video, so you don't have to worry about writing that down. So I'm going to go to the website. Okay, so on here, this is the FortiCloud. You can register an account. If you already have an existing account, you just click on login. So for you, if you don't have, just click on register and then just fill up some few informations about your email and then follow the steps procedure. Okay. So I already have an account, so I'm going to make sure that I open that to my account so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm going to go back out here. So I'll click on login and I'm going to sign into my account. This will allow me to download the software. So this is the dashboard where you can download the software. Also remember, if you buy a hardware version of a firewall, of the FortiGate firewall, this is also the same site that you are going to register your software. So I mean your firewall I'm talking about. So you have to click on register and then it's going to request for the product serial number. You key in the product serial number and then hit whatever it is, government or non-government, and proceed to go through with the registration. So but today our goal is to download and install the VM version of the FortiGate firewall. So let me take you through our objectives for this particular lesson. So we're going to have to learn, or we're going to learn by the end of this session, where to download the virtual copy of the Fortinet firewall, and then learn how to create the VM from the downloaded copy. Then we're going to learn how to create the virtual switch and connecting our VM to it, then creating an additional NIC. This will help you, like in case you want to use it for your WAN and your LAN. So this will allow you to be able to do that. Checking the system interfaces, we're going to look at that, and assigning an IP address to the Fortinet ports or interfaces to allow us to access it on the GUI. And then finally, we're going to try to access the Fortinet on a GUI. This is just a very short lesson to help anyone who wants to download and install the VM version of the Fortinet firewall. So let's get started. So I have already able to sign in. So now you know where to download the software is through the support.fortinet.com, and then now let's download the copy. To download the copy, you have to hit on support, and then under support, you're going to see this is where you can also download the VM firmware. You're going to VM images. So under images, okay, the product I'm looking for is a FortiGate. Then I'm looking for a HyperV version because I already have a HyperV installed. Perhaps you might want a VMware EXXI version, or whichever version of a virtual machine that you want, or you have in your environment. So I already have a HyperV, so that's what I'm going to use. This one, it comes with my Windows operating system. I'm going to show you shortly where you can enable that. So let's get started. So I'm going to click over there and choose HyperV. Then under the list, I'm going to see which version. I'm going to take the latest version. You could also choose earlier versions if you prefer. So here I have the version 7.2.0. So this one is for an upgrade of a previous version, and this one is for a new deployment. So I'm going to download this version. So download. check my downloads and see. Yep, it's downloading. So let me check my downloads folder. So downloads, you can see it's still downloading. Even though I already have a version downloaded, this is just to help you guys understand where you can get the software. And when you download, you can confirm to see if it is downloaded. Okay, while both of it downloads, let me take you through where to enable your Hyper-V if you have a Windows machine that you want to do this at home or practice. So you have to go to your control panel, and then under control panel you have to click on programs. Then under programs you click on turn on features on or off. This will bring you to this page. You look on, you can see that there's a Hyper-V. Make sure that the Hyper-V management tools is on and Hyper-V platform is on. Please, if you are able to turn on this and still you cannot be able to work with the virtual machine platform, that's this will be allow you to be able to come up with the Hyper-V manager. It will require a restart as well. If you've done this and still you've not been able to access your virtual manager, remember you have to enable your virtual manager in the BIOS of your PC. This is possible only when you restart the PC and log onto the BIOS. This will allow you to be able to turn it on. Make sure that virtualization is enabled on the BIOS. That's what I mean. So now that we have our software downloaded, let's go back and check it. So we have 2 copies. You can see them. You have to extract it. So right click on it and then extract all of it. I already have a copy, but I'm going to do it again just for the purpose of this video. You see it's saying replace. So now we got our copies of our virtual machine copies over here. So we have to open to the Hyper-V manager. If it is not over there, you have to click on your start and type Hyper-V. You're going to see that Hyper-V manager will pop up. Click on that and then that's going to open for you. This is where you're going to bring you to. Maybe for the beginning it might not have any PC. You can have to connect to the server. So in this case I chose the local PC. That's what happened. So my PC is Elite InfoSec. So let's go ahead and then create a new virtual machine which will allow us to import the VM copy of the Fortinet firewall. So right click on your PC and then click on new virtual machine. So here you get next, then the name. So this is a Fortinet firewall. So next, if you do prefer to choose a different location to store your, by default it's going to store it on the Microsoft Windows Hyper-V location. But if you do prefer to put it on a separate location, you have to choose where you want the location to be. So which generation? Generation 1 I'm selecting, and then going forward define how much RAM you want your firewall to have. 1 GB is okay, 1024 is 1 gig. So we're proceeding. You can want, if you think like maybe there are times that it will need some additional resources, then you might have to check dynamic memory. This will allow it, when it's running out of memory, it can get some additional memory from your PC. So next, so here I'm not going to connect to the network yet. I'm going to just proceed and create my virtual machine. But in this case I'm not going to create a hard disk. Remember, we already downloaded the virtual machine hard disk from the website. So remember, you have to click on choose an existing virtual hard disk. This is where the difference is. Okay, select choose an existing virtual disk and then browse. Now remember, we're going to our downloads. That's what we exported it into. Then you go into this copy, then virtual machine hard disk, and select the VM hard disk. Okay, and then click open. It's selected. Next and finish. So our second objective, third objective, and have all been what? No, the first and second has been completed. Now let's go into what? Creating a virtual machine VM and connecting it to our thing. So we're gonna go in here. You can see that there's a virtual what? Switch manager. So we're gonna say create a new one. So create a new switch is wanted to be an external switch. In my case, it could be private, it could be anything for you, but in my case I want to select an external. This external will allow my current PC that I'm working with, it will allow me to use it to connect to the GUI interface. If you think you do have more than one virtual machines on your PC, you could create a private network of PCs. So that will allow you to be just able to connect within the virtual environment space. So in this case, I want to share my NIC from my regular PC that I'm working with to the virtual machine, the virtual Fortinet. So I'm going to create an external switch. I'm going to call it CCP, computing concept and practice switch in this case. Okay, so I'm going to make sure I choose which interface am I connecting. I want to use the LAN instead of the wireless, okay, because that is where I have network at the moment. So I can just click on apply and oh, yes. Okay, let's see. Okay, yes. Okay, one second. What's going on here? So I need to be sure it's been created, and then okay, one second. So our virtual machine already has been created. I just wanted to create a virtual switch, and then I'm getting the error. So let's see if it is already been created. Right click on the virtual machine and click on properties, and then from our NIC we're going to select which virtual switch we want to use. So the one we tried to create has not been created. So I'm going to go back again and see for us to try to create it again. So one more time, virtual switch, and then I'm going to click on an external, create an external switch. So we can call this CCP, and then yep, we want to make sure that it's connecting to the Ethernet, and then okay, yes. Perhaps because I have already created some additional virtual machines that is causing the error. So you can see that if you go, I have almost two virtual machines. You see VM switch 1 and then what? The default switch. So maybe I might have to delete one of those. So I could delete this one to allow me to create a new one. So there you go. I think after doing that, it allows it to create. Yes, that was the issue. So okay, so I'm going to go in here, settings. You have to right click on your Fortinet and then click on settings, and then from there you have to click on the network adapter and choose which of the switches you want to connect to. So in this case I want to connect to CCP, and then apply. Okay, so this will allow me, so let me turn on my VM first. So let's turn on the virtual machine. Right click on the virtual machine and click on start. So I'm going to double click on it, and then there you go. I have my virtual machine powered up. So this is how it looks up. So it's already booted successfully. It comes with what? The serial number. So let's go in and log in. Admin, and then by default username is admin. There's no password. So enter, and then it's forcing me to create a new password. So I'm going to create a new password as admin. Perfect. And now I'm in. So the first command you run when you run a virtual machine, or when you create a virtual or whether a physical Fortinet firewall box, is to get the system status. This will give you all the information that you need about your device. System status. Get system status. So you see, it brings you all the information that you need about your device. So including what? The serial number of your device, because you need this for the registration process. Remember when we went into that Fortinet cloud, and then it asks us to put in the serial number and choose government or non-government. So do you need that information and all the other things that are important? It's telling you that this is what, in the NAT mode. All right, so all the other information that you need. So we're going to go through our objectives, and we're going to come back again to proceed. So the next thing we're going to do is creating an additional NIC. Why would you need an additional NIC? So for example, let's say I want to create two NICs, one for the local environment and one for the WAN. So this is why I need, because one virtual NIC on this case will not be sufficient, because like you see, that means you can only connect to only one NIC. So you need at least two, one for your LAN and one for your WAN. So how do you create an additional NIC? So first you need to make sure your virtual machine is turned off. So right click on it and turn off your virtual machine. And then once it's off, then you right click on it and click on settings. Then click on your network adapter, and then you'll be able to click on add an additional hardware. You see on the top, add a hardware. So from there, click on network adapter. That's what I want to create. So you have an additional NIC just in case you need it to connect your WAN and one for your LAN. So that's another objective has been accomplished. Then checking the system interfaces. So let's go back to our virtual machine. Yep, it has restarted or turned on successfully. So admin is a username. Sorry, it won't work. I forgot to type the N. So admin. So there you go. So now how do you view the system interfaces? The command is simple. It's show system interfaces. You can press this, it's going to list all the system interfaces for you. So this is very, very, very important. Observe. You can see that some of the interfaces like port 1 is allowing what? The set mode is DHCP. That means the mode in which it should accept an IP address is what? DHCP, through DHCP. And these protocols such as ping, HTTP, HTTPS, SSH, FG-FM, all these protocols are allowed on it. Then we also have other interfaces like what? Port 2. Then we have what? The nav.root port. We have the 12T.root port, and there are many others. So let's see what other interfaces do we have, because I didn't finish all of that. And we do have the FortiLink as well. So these are, and that one has an IP address by default, and then this is the only thing allowed, ping and then fabric. These are the only protocol that are allowed for this particular interface. So our goal is to look for the very first port 1 interface. This is where we're going to change the the DHCP mode. We're going to turn that off, and then make sure that we set that to what is the name, a static IP address, that we can be able to access the system interface on the GUI platform. So let's do that. How do we set the IP address? So these are basic commands. So we have to go to config system interfaces. Okay, this will take you to the interface mode. Then from here you click on show. Show will give you all the interfaces that are there. So we have to go into edit. I want to edit one of the ports. So edit port 1. Press enter. This will bring you to the port. You can show and see what you can do in here. Show allows you to see what the things you can do in this interface. You can set. So we're going to set mode. So set mode DHCP. So we want to make it off. So we want to make it static. So set mode static and press enter. Okay, then once you get that done, then you have to assign your IP address. What do you want your IP address to be? So in this case, going to be set IP. Then I have to give an IP address that correspond to my local network because I'm connecting it to my switch external. Remember when we were choosing the NIC? Okay, so my local IP is a 10.0.0 network. So I can give this one maybe a 13. Okay, and then subnet mask 255.255.0 and press that. So now an interface address has been set up for this particular port 1. So now I have to now go back to my PC. So we've accomplished that, and we've accomplished that goal as well. Checking the interfaces we've done. Now we've assigned an IP address, and then the last thing is to how to access the GUI. So remember, we already assigned what? An IP address, and the IP address is what? 10.0.0.13.1.3. So I'm going to go into the system global configuration and then make sure that I set the system to automatically save my configuration data. So the command to use is configure or config. If we say configure, it won't work. So use the right term. Config system global. Just to bring you to the global mode. The command to you to write is set cfg-save configuration-save automatic. So this will allow you to be able to save your configurations automatically. So this is important now that we got this. So now let's go back and then make sure that I'm going to restart the virtual machine to make sure that all the settings have been applied successfully. Then we come back and then test it one last time. So run, right click on it, and then turn off. Then right click on it and then start the virtual machine and double click on it. This will bring it up. See, I'm going to verify the configurations that I have done on the port to be sure that the configurations are there, so that we can try one more time to access the GUI interface with just the username and the password. So login credentials, admin, and show system interfaces or interface. Okay, yep. The port number 1 is set to root. The VDOM is root. The IP address is the 13 that I set for my house. Then we have what? Set access ping HTTP. So this is the protocol that are allowed on that interface. So I am going to make sure that I try one more time to see if I can access the interface. So one more time, HTTP, let's make it HTTP, try. There you go. In with our credentials, which is the admin. And it's saying that perform the following steps to complete the setup on the FortiGate. So begin. Okay, yes, the host name, we can leave it the way it is. So I can just leave the host name like it is and say okay. And optimal comprehensive, set a popular default. This is fine, optimal is okay. This brings us to the end of this session. As you can see, we were able to successfully visit the site, the support site, to download the virtual machine copy of the Fortinet firewall. We were able to install a virtual copy, download a virtual copy, then created a virtual machine from the downloaded copy. We had created a virtual switch and connecting our VM to it, and we created an additional NIC which we did not even use in this case, and then we checked the system interfaces and observe which ones permitted some protocol that we might need to access the GUI. In this sense, it was the HTTP protocol, and then the HTTPS, the SSH. So we also assigned an IP address to the interface that we needed to assign the IP address to, and then we have finally been able to access the GUI platform. So this is going to be the end of this session, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Please click the like button and the subscribe as well.